In a dilapidated trailer park on the outskirts of Pine Hollow, Texas, where rusted tin roofs shimmered under the southern sun, lived a 12-year-old girl named Maya Brooks. Every morning, Maya would wake up at 5 a.m., not to play video games or pick out cute outfits like many of her classmates, but to help her mother clean the small bakery where they both worked part-time. Her mother, Monica, was a slim but strong woman who always said, "You don't have to be rich to live kindly." Before we continue, please let us know where you're listening from. Maya had few friends. Her old school uniform was patched at the seams, and her worn-out shoes made her an easy target for mockery at Oak Ridge Elementary School. She usually sat in the back row, quiet and reserved, but in her brown eyes was something deep, like the song she only dared to hum silently in her mind. Before we continue with Maya's extraordinary journey, if you believe that a person's true worth is measured not by their appearance or background, but by unshakable passion and perseverance, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Together, we can share inspiring stories with more people. Now, back to the story. There are still surprises ahead. One Monday morning, the principal's voice rang through the loudspeaker. "Welcome to Talent Week. If you want to perform, please write your name on the sign-up sheet by Wednesday." The class buzzed with excitement. Some kids bragged about doing TikTok dances. Others planned to play piano or drums. Maya said nothing. But that night, after washing dishes with her mom and listening to an old lullaby cassette her mother recorded years ago, she picked up a pencil and wrote her name on a small slip of paper. "I'll sing that song, Mom," she whispered. "The one you used to sing when I was sick." The next day, Maya stood still before the bulletin board near the school office. Her hands trembled. The list was already long. She took a deep breath and wrote her name on the very last line. Maya Brooks, singing. Within 10 minutes, laughter echoed down the hallway. "Maya signed up to sing? That's a joke. Maybe she'll sing through a rice cooker," someone mocked. Maya heard it all. But she didn't cry. She simply lowered her head and walked away, clutching a little notebook where she had neatly handwritten the lyrics. That evening, her mom found her rehearsing alone in her room. Her voice trembled, but it was pure, like a spring breeze. Monica quietly opened the door, sat beside her daughter, and softly said, "You know, I once dreamed of being on stage too. But Grandma got sick, and I had to drop out of school to care for her. I never regretted it. But if I could see you on that stage today, it would be the greatest gift of my life." Maya looked up at her mother, eyes full of tears. "Will you come with me?" Monica nodded. "Even if I have to walk to get there." The Oak Ridge Elementary courtyard was packed. Flags and decorations lined the halls, and a temporary stage was adorned with colorful balloons. A blinking LED screen read, "Oak Ridge Elementary, let your light shine." Maya arrived early in a simple white dress, the only one in her closet that wasn't torn. Her mother had ironed every crease. Her brown hair was braided into 2 small plaits. Her face looked tense, but her eyes were full of determination. In her hands, she held the same worn notebook of lyrics. Despite her night shift at the bakery, her mother stood by her side, pale from lack of sleep, but glowing with pride. Students took turns performing. There was a modern dance group with flashing lights, a boy playing electronic drums, a girl in a pink dress singing pop songs. Each act received loud applause from friends. Maya sat alone in the waiting area. No one spoke to her, just side glances and quiet giggles. "Wait for it, it's going to be a fairy tale," someone whispered. "She's singing without music? A cappella?" When Maya was called, the young teacher hosting hesitantly announced, and finally, a solo performance without background music. Maya Brooks singing Scarborough Fair. Please welcome her. Scattered applause. Some students took out their phones to record, some for fun, one ready with a mocking sticker for the school's internal network. Maya stepped onto the stage. The lights were too bright to see the crowd, but she knew her mother was sitting in the 3rd row by the window. That was enough to stand tall and take a deep breath. "Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme." Her voice rose, gentle as wind brushing across a meadow, soft and simple but heartbreakingly honest. At first there were whispers, a few impatient glances, but gradually, silence filled the hall. Not out of boredom, but reverence. The music teacher paused his notes. An elderly parent with gold-rimmed glasses slowly removed them and wiped his eyes. Every word Maya sang carried loss, quiet hungry nights, and unspoken dreams. No flashy tricks, no choreography. Just a child singing with her whole heart. When the last note faded, there was a pause. 3 seconds. Then 4. Then came the applause. Not loud or wild, but full of respect. One person stood up, the elderly parent, then another. Soon, the whole hall rose in a standing ovation, as if thanking her for something pure that had just passed through them. Maya stood still, clutching her dress. Her eyes glistened, but she didn't cry. The spotlight bathed her face. She was no longer the poor girl mocked by classmates. She was an artist living her dream. Below the stage, her mother slowly stood and placed her hand on her heart. Her eyes were red, but her lips carried a proud smile. After the performance, as soon as Maya stepped off stage, a woman in a white blouse with a name badge approached her. "You must be Maya, right? I'm Linda Morales, director of the City Youth Choir. I was here today because my daughter was performing earlier. But you're the one who made me come over to speak. Would you like to come in for an audition? We have a special scholarship program." Maya didn't know what to say. She turned to her mother. Monica nodded, eyes shining. "Go, sweetheart. The world's been waiting for your voice." That Saturday morning, Maya Brooks stepped into a professional recording studio for the first time. The walls were covered in acoustic foam, and the soft lighting made the room feel unfamiliar and magical. Outside, the hum of city traffic in Elmsworth carried on like any other day. But inside that studio, time stood still. Linda Morales, the choir director who invited Maya, met her and her mother at the bus station. Linda was around 50, with a gentle voice and observant eyes. "Just think of today as a little adventure," she told Maya. "Don't be nervous. I just want to hear you sing like you did that day." Maya nodded, gripping her lyric notebook like a lucky charm. She wore a plain white blouse and neat jeans. No makeup, no fancy preparation. Just her, simple and sincere. Tom, the studio's sound engineer, sat behind the glass adjusting microphones and headphones. He had salt and pepper stubble and the calm demeanor of someone who had heard thousands of voices. But when Maya entered the booth, he raised his eyebrows, not in awe but in surprise. "She's the kid?" he asked Linda through the intercom. "Yes, trust me, Tom. Just let her sing." The mic was too high. Tom lowered it to match her height. Linda entered the booth and gently placed a hand on Maya's shoulder. "Would you like to sing Scarborough Fair again, or anything else you'd like?" Maya looked through the thick studio glass at her mother, who gave her a soft smile. Then she turned to Linda. "I'll sing my mom's song. No backing track, just silence." And then, the voice of a 12-year-old girl filled the soundproof room. "Are you going to Scarborough Fair?" Tom sat completely still. Linda folded her arms, her expression softening. Maya closed her eyes, and each line poured out like warm wind drifting through a room used only to sterile recordings. When she finished, no one spoke for a few seconds. Then Tom leaned toward the mic. "You've had no formal vocal training?" "No, sir. But you keep tempo, control your breath, and convey emotion without forcing it. Kid, your voice isn't loud, it's not flawless, but it's real." Linda re-entered the booth and gently took Maya's hand. "You know, Scarborough Fair is a folk song that's been around for centuries. My mom sings it a lot," Maya replied. "She says it's a lullaby for dreamers." Linda smiled. "Maybe that's why your voice touches people." That same day, Linda sent the recording to the admissions board of the Brightmoor School of Arts, where she was on the selection committee. It was part of a rural youth scholarship program that only chose 2 students a year. "You don't need to beat anyone," Linda told Maya. "Just be yourself." 3 weeks later, a pale blue envelope with the Emerson logo arrived at their temporary address. Monica opened it with trembling hands. "Dear Maya Brooks, we were deeply moved by your audition recording. Unanimously approved by the admissions board, we are thrilled to invite you to join the prestigious Emerson Summer Scholarship Program this June in Austin. All expenses, tuition, travel, and accommodation will be fully covered." Monica couldn't hold back her tears. Maya just stared at the letter, then whispered, "Mom, I got in." For the first time in her life, Maya Brooks felt like she was no longer sitting in the last row. June in Austin was bright and golden. Sunlight draped the roads in warmth beneath the shadows of ancient oaks. Emerson Conservatory stood modestly atop a hill, its historic red brick building adorned with stained glass windows. For many students, this program was a prestigious summer camp. But for Maya Brooks, it was a whole new world, intimidating yet delicate, like a fragile dream. On the first day, she slowly wheeled her old suitcase down the dorm hallway, passing girls in floral dresses, designer shoes, and embroidered backpacks. They came from New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco. Some had vocal coaches since they were 7. Others had performed in major theaters or international choirs. Maya came from a trailer park in Pine Hollow. She had never studied music theory. Her worn notebook of handwritten lyrics was still tucked in her suitcase. The orientation took place in a domed hall. Linda Morales, the woman who had introduced Maya to this world, stood behind the lectern. "We're not here looking for perfection," she said. "We're looking for souls that tell stories through music. Remember, sometimes the simplest voice is the one people listen to the longest." But Maya quickly learned those words didn't always reflect reality behind the scenes. The first workshop was on vocal anatomy. The teacher handed out full-color diagrams of the larynx, explaining the diaphragm, vocal cords, and resonance. Maya was confused. She had never heard these terms before. "Do you know if your voice is soprano or mezzo?" a girl asked. "I'm not sure. You've never had vocal training?" she added. Maya gave a shy smile. "No, I just sing with my mom." That answer earned her a few side glances that made her feel like a handmade craft in a high-tech showroom. One girl named Chloe from the Boston Arts Academy whispered to her neighbor, "Looks like they picked the wrong student this year." The days that followed weren't easy. In harmony class, Maya struggled to read sheet music fast enough. During vocal technique sessions, she often fell behind. One day, nerves got the best of her, and she completely forgot the lyrics. The old memories of being laughed at in her previous school came flooding back, like fresh wounds. One evening, Maya sat alone on the dorm porch, staring at the dim lights across the courtyard. Linda quietly joined her, setting down 2 cups of mint tea between them. "I don't think I belong here," Maya whispered. "Why would you say that?" Linda asked gently. "I'm behind. I don't understand the terms. I don't look like the others. I don't sound like them." Linda nodded slowly. "You know, I was once a small-town girl, too. When I entered conservatory, I had nothing but a beat-up guitar in my voice. At first, people laughed at my accent and how I didn't know theory. But one professor said something I've never forgotten. Technique can be taught. Emotion can't. You bring something many have forgotten, the reason to sing." Maya fell silent. She had never thought of her voice as a strength before. A few days later, the class was assigned to prepare a solo for the final concert. Chloe chose a challenging Italian aria. Another student picked a Broadway number. Maya chose a simple country song, "You Are My Sunshine," the one her mom used to sing when they walked home in the rain, carrying leftover pastries from the bakery. When it was her turn to rehearse, many students were surprised. No backing track, no spotlight, just her and her voice. Her voice was as light as breath, soft as memory, echoing gently through the room. Chloe, who had been sitting in the front row scribbling notes, stopped writing. The vocal instructor quietly sighed as if carried back to some distant childhood. When Maya finished the final line, "You make me happy when skies are gray," no one spoke, but everyone felt it. She had reminded them all why music touches the heart in the first place. The Emerson Conservatory's final concert was held at Olah Hall, a historic wooden auditorium that could seat over 500 guests. That day, a light rain fell over Austin. Umbrellas of every color lined the gates outside, while anticipation filled the air inside. Parents, musicians, local reporters, and even talent scouts attended. Maya Brooks stood backstage, clutching the handwritten lyrics in her hand. She wore a soft blue dress, hand-sewn by a school teacher from 2 old blouses as a gift. Her hair was pulled back loosely, and around her neck hung a small sun-shaped pendant, the only birthday gift her mother had ever been able to afford. Monica sat in the 4th row, dressed simply. Her hair was slightly damp from the rain, but her eyes never left the stage. She had traveled overnight on a bus from Pine Hollow, carrying a small box of pastries and a hand-stitched handkerchief with Maya's name on it. When she entered the auditorium and saw the other parents in suits with expensive watches, she hesitated, only for a second. Then she reminded herself, "My daughter is going to walk on that stage, and I'll be the first to stand for her." The concert began with classical pieces, dazzling Broadway numbers, and powerful voices from professionally trained performers. Each performance received polite, restrained applause. Then the host announced, "Next up, a voice from Pine Hollow, Texas, young Maya Brooks, performing You Are My Sunshine." A quiet murmur rippled through the crowd. Some whispered, not expecting much from such an old folk song. Maya stepped onto the stage, her legs slightly trembling. The spotlight blurred everything around her. She couldn't see her mother, couldn't see Linda, couldn't even read the expressions of the audience. All she heard was the thumping of her own heart and the memory of that rainy day. "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine." Her voice rose, soft, low, and full of emotion, like a whisper straight from the heart. Every word she sang wasn't just lyrics. It was the story of long nights without electricity, of shared loaves of bread, of rain-soaked embraces, and a mother's tired, trembling voice singing the same lullaby to comfort her child. The auditorium fell into a deep hush. A parent in the third row placed his hand over his heart. A student assistant covered his mouth. Linda Morales, seated in the back, lifted her eyes, lips pressed together, tears shimmering. Then, at the final line, "Please don't take my sunshine away," one person stood. It was Monica. She didn't clap. She just stood, her hand over her heart, silently saying to the world, "That's my daughter." And I heard her with every fiber of my being. A second passed, then another. And then the hall erupted in applause, thunderous, wave after wave. Several audience members wiped their eyes. A journalist lowered his camera to clean his glasses. Chloe, the girl who once looked down on Maya, turned to her roommate and whispered, "I was wrong." Maya bowed. This time she didn't tremble. She knew she had been seen, not for perfection but for authenticity. The next morning, as Maya and her mother ate breakfast at a small cafe nearby, Linda arrived with an envelope. "Congratulations," she said. "The academic board held an emergency meeting last night. They want to offer you full enrollment into the year-long program starting this fall. No further evaluation required." Monica put down her fork. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Maya asked softly, "Can I bring my mom with me?" Linda smiled. "If your mother is the reason you sing the way you do, I think the school would be lucky to have her nearby." During a televised interview, a host asked Maya Brooks, now a well-known singer and songwriter, "What moment changed your life the most?" Maya didn't hesitate. "It was the moment my mother stood up in that crowd. When no one else knew who I was, she did. And that was enough for me." And so ends the story of Maya Brooks. From the last row of the classroom to the center stage, from an unnoticed voice to the heart of hundreds touched by her song. If this story moved you, share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to help preserve these beautiful moments in a fast-moving world. Thank you so much for tuning in to Storyline Narratives.